What up, everybody out there in podcast land? Thank you for tuning in yet again to another episode of Ken Ross present the Yeah I Said It podcast. We're expressing what our full capabilities. Today might want us in correctional facilities. Brainchild of my child. I'm the dad half of this operation. Ross Cooper coming to you live and in public, if you will. As always, I am rocking with the best. My co-host, please introduce yourself to the folks.
Watch the world going to hell. So I'm laughing, saying it's perfect. Yawa, shout out to Killer Mike. Yawa, what's good? Everybody was having a good day, month, hour, year, minute, second, all that good stuff. You watching on any other platforms? Please share with your friends, family, your enemies, bug on your wall, the mailman outside, the aliens outside, Bigfoot, all of them. If you watching on YouTube, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Because if you don't, Bigfoot gonna get you. Hey.
Just Bigfoot. All right, all right. We got Bigfoot sightings. But we are honored to be joined by an awesome, amazing guest. We've been having some great guests. I'm going to try to keep that trend going. But this is one of my homeboys from wow. I guess we can say way back because it's been about a dime. It's been about a
Yeah.
dime. Awesome poet, awesome dad, awesome person, allied to women. This is just the stuff that I know. Slam champion. I'd be here for the next 5 minutes trying to list the entire resume, but this is our amazing guest, Mr. Roscoe Burnhams. Please let the folks know who you are and what you're up to.
So yeah, we are Douglas Powell / Roscoe Burnhams. I've been making it a more of a habit to use the name that's on my license. But I'll be Roscoe forever, just cause, right? But yeah, I'm a poet. I'm a teacher. I'm a bit of a comedian and a host. I'm a father. I'm the first poet laureate of Richmond, Virginia. Um, an author. You name it, I probably done it. So I'm happy to be here, man. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely, man. You and I talk all the time on Facebook and such, and now I'm talking more often in real life. But you're one of the coolest still, because I don't know if Kane remembers, but I didn't know you could hoop. So so yeah, you were you were our teammate many years ago,
Yeah.
and we played together. I'm like, yo, son can like legit hoop. Okay, cool. I think I got 2 quick fouls in that game and had to sit out. But
That's because you were like twice the size of everybody on the court.
What was this?
uh,
What was
yeah,
this?
Jay, do you remember?
Remember
This is
what?
years back. This is years
When
ago.
we that was
Which
when we
one? When we
went.
went inside? When we
Yeah, and
the
Devin hit the
tournament?
game, that game winner sentence, or that one
Oh
time had to send in overtime.
no, we won off that game one. That was game one.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
He
game.
hit that
Oh,
he hit
okay.
that
Yes.
game
Yeah, that
winner.
was yeah. He hit it. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Damn,
Yeah.
that was a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a while back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I'm like, okay, this guy's a hooper for real. That's what's good.
I've
I'm
done a
not
little bit of
doing
everything, man. Like I've worked in warehousing. I've shipping and receiving, drove a forklift for years, worked in the classroom, you know what I'm saying? I did mixed martial arts for a little bit. Like I've been in a cage. Like
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Multifaceted.
man. I've done a little bit of everything.
Hey, and you're unofficially my workout partner. So
Yeah, I definitely be hitting you up anytime I meet my goals. It's very much Big Brother. Yo, look what I did. Yo, fam, wait, you're the only one who's gonna be excited about this.
oh yeah, because I'm like, yo, that's what's good. Like, okay, let me get the getting. Okay, that's what's
Yeah,
up.
man, I'm out here. I'm working, man. I'm trying my best. I got 3 kids I gotta chase around, man. So
Hmm.
Yeah, we can't get old and decrepit. That ain't
look,
going
man,
fly.
I gotta stay on top of it. I gotta stay. I got a 17-year-old daughter, and then a 7-year-old son. He about to be 8, and I got a nearly 2-year-old daughter. So I got him.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the face I made too.
Yeah. Understood. Okay, so let me see, because And this is going to be interesting because the first thing we're going to jump into here, well, if you had a 17-year-old, that means you just about got a college student. And
Yeah.
it's been interesting seeing what's been going on college campuses across the country. And from what I saw, some spots, there's encampments across the globe now. And what I'm referring to, the protests, the encampments here on different college campuses that are protesting what's going on in Gaza against, Palestinians, what Israel's doing to Palestinians is getting very what the fuckish, for lack of a better term. Kane sent me a clip earlier. It's from UCLA's campus. Cops arrested somebody and made sure to remove their mask. Interesting. Some of the lists of schools where there are encampments also very interesting. And what I saw is I didn't see a bunch of HBCUs, but what I find very interesting is in this culture, in this society of connections, who you know, so on and so forth, there's some big name schools where there are encampments. Columbia, other places like that. And I'm like, somebody brought up a point online, like, this is the first time a lot of these students are bumping into law enforcement. And they are definitely the I'm gonna call my dad or I'm gonna call my mom crowd. But I'm like, what? I'm with them. I love the younger generation. I love that spirit of middle finger that they have, especially in a matter like this. But it just looks so nefarious. So I'm curious, would you, and I think I know the answer, but I don't know. Would you have a freak out moment if you got a phone call from your oldest saying, Dad, I'm locked up because I was in a protest?
If the kid hit me up and was locked up because they were at a protest, I would not be mad. I would not be mad. I would not be mad. I'd be mad if I didn't have no bail money. I have to figure that out.
Right.
But nah, I wouldn't be mad. Like, my thing is, if you're gonna have that kind of run in with the police, then it should be worth it. It should be for a good cause. It should be, something, something with a sense of integrity, man. It shows me that you care about something. And I think that's what I love most about. I'm here for all these protests. I'm out here in Richmond, Virginia. So they just shut VCU down.
Really?
Yeah, like, I mean, it got heated, and police get real, get a little aggressive out here when it comes to protests, because especially since 2020 and the whole George Floyd thing. So, because the protesters out here during that time were wild too, and I mean, rubber bullets, smoke, the whole nine. Like, it goes down out here with RPD. So
Wow.
they broke up some of those encampments, and I don't know how they're going to be handling stuff on campus later down the line, but I had a little inside scoop, so I knew that the encampments were going to happen before they got
Oh,
set up. Because I got some homies that work in I got some homies who work in like marijuana justice, and we're helping like lead some of the protests during after the George Floyd murder. Of course, when they tore down the statues down here, there was a lot of protests around the statues and all that kind of stuff. So Richmond's no stranger to people get in an uproar, and so RPD be on high alert. They be on high alert. They be ready. So the riot gear came out quick, fast, and in a hurry. So yeah, they shut that whole thing down, man. And so I mean, I don't know how people expected them to respond. Like, I think that the protests have to happen, but I also am not surprised by the response to them happening. Like, none of them, no college was going to be like, okay, maybe you have a point. We should divest our funds from Israel. We should no longer accept donor money from this Zionist regime. No college is going to say that because capitalism.
and okay. Because see, I got a point to make about that, but Kane, I'm gonna let you jump in here, man. What are you thinking? Because this is
Make your
okay.
point.
So my thing is, I hear you, but I thought college was the last space. College was the last free space. You can think what you want to do. You can think how you want to think. You can protest. The protests are primarily peaceful. They just line up, and no one's burning nothing down. This isn't rioting. This isn't looting. This is just a peaceful protest. And I thought that was one of the underlying points of college. So it was interesting, especially seeing Columbia and the glorious Empire State acting a straight up donkey, asking for NYPD presence to remain on campus. Like, wait, so what are we doing for real? Because again, this isn't what college is quote unquote for. It's supposed to be the place that free thought is allowed to proliferate. And what we're seeing here is, nah, not really, Chief. Not really. Y'all need to turn that down a notch. And I'm like, that's not college when I remember it, but
college you went.
And like I said, we're what's interesting is I'm looking at a list of colleges that have encampments. And some of these names: Harvard, MIT, Penn State, Ohio State, Northwestern, Cornell, UCLA, like Yale, Berkeley, Columbia, NYU. See, where I'm going here is these aren't just little blip schools. These are schools with kids of privilege. These are do you know who my dad is? These are them students. So how does this go?
Here's the thing. It doesn't matter. School, fast forward to the 20th century, school's never been a place for free thought. It's a place where you go, you work your ass off, you get your degree that sometimes means nothing by the time you get it. And the school continues to make money. It's the reason why college is expensive as fuck right now. You know what I mean? Like, and it's only going to grow to get more expensive later down the line, right? It's a business. It's always a business because we live in capitalism, and American capitalism turns everything into an industry, including what they're allowed to teach you. So all that said, right? Yes, these are privileged students who are going to Ivy League schools. Does not matter, right? Because the kids don't have no money. The only thing that's going to change how these protests look and how the schools choose to move forward with divesting funds from Israel, the only thing that's going to change that is if the parents and the donors get involved. If those alumni be like, hey, we're going to withhold our money. If those parents say, okay, we're gonna fall back on this enrollment. If the people providing the scholarships are like, nah, instead we're gonna move over here. If the people who hold the money decide to change, the schools change everything. Instantly. Everything changes by tomorrow.
Instantly. That I was about to say that. I was like, I hope we think it. Yep, I was thinking that. The parents, the people with the actual money. I told you, if you want real change, you gotta affect the bottom line. That's the only way change is going to happen. Like the peaceful protest is great on the surface, but realistically, it's not doing nothing. You're not affecting their bottom line. They're still getting paid.
I mean, protests matter, right? Because you have to build the awareness.
Surface, but
yeah, they build the awareness. But if you can't get people to rally, people who have money, if you can't get people to rally behind that, then it's a fleeting cause, unfortunately.
That's what I've been saying. I said the protest is cool on the surface, but realistically, you're not affecting me.
You're affecting the future because, again, speaking personally, if you had, just hypothetically, let's rewind time, say you were about 10, 15 years younger. If you had a full scholarship at this point, I'd yank it. No, we're gonna pull the admission and go elsewhere. Like, no. So it's not affecting the bottom line right this second, but let's see what the enrollment looks like in the next few years. Who wants to go to a school that is clearly and openly pro-genocide? Who wants to go to a school?
Yeah, a bunch of people. Because here's the thing: the students are out there complaining, but do you see the parents out there with them?
No.
Yeah, because they don't care. They don't care, and or They may agree. They either don't care or they agree.
Well, if you going to that school and you a nepo baby, you probably connected to those people that you're supposed to disagree with. So that might be the same person. Of course, they're not going to agree.
You can't.
Because you're also talking about, like, let's say we're talking about Ivy League schools, right? We're talking about Harvard and Yale and all that, right? You're talking about parents who are, upper class, affluent, middle-aged white people.
Exactly.
They do not care about what is happening to brown people in Palestine.
They don't.
Muslims, they don't care about what's happening to some Muslims in Palestine.
Nope.
When they got American Jewish friends here in the States,
Mm-hmm.
and that's their closest relationship to Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, this is where it gets, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm giving too much compassion.
You are.
I don't care. There you go. I don't care which side of the fence you're on. When you show photos of dead babies, you can't just you can't just that away.
Yes, you can.
Nazis used Polish Jewish children, infants, as target practice. And they were still Nazis. Like, nobody saw this one time and it was like, that's too far. Like, they stayed and they stuck around. You know what I mean? I got to go. At the point is, if these start killing babies, I that's it for me. I'm hanging up this cause. Right? That's the threshold for me. The threshold happens. I got to actually a much lower threshold for that. But, like, you know what I'm saying? But, like, there are people who are like, nah, that was okay. Why not?
War.
I'm like, I'm looking at Brown University, Princeton, like some of the names that jump out: Columbia, Cornell, Yale, Princeton. These are people of means, and probably of wealth. And I'm like, I can easily be like, whatevs, I'm good. But when you start showing me imagery of dead kids, it's like, whoa, wait a minute now.
We see that now in America with gun control. They don't care.
They literally Tennessee just passed that bill to let teachers carry
they don't care.
handguns in school.
Like, we saw elementary, like, it's one thing if high school, middle school was still trashy, but people, like, they're closer to adults, so it doesn't matter. When elementary schools got lit up, nothing happens to them. That should tell you they don't care about no damn kids.
I mean, unfortunately he's really right. When the Sandy Hook shooting happened, it was an elementary school. When the Sandy Hook shooting happened, and I was like, okay, for me, that was the turning point, right?
Awesome.
I was like, okay, if there's anything that's going to be done now, right, then this would be the moment, because there were small children. There were small children who were killed, right? And we watched this, play out in almost real time. So if there was any point in time that was going to change, that would have been the moment. And then when America glossed over it and the media glossed over it, and it was headline news for about 2 weeks, and we moved on to the next thing, and there were no changes in legislation, there were no bills passed, nothing. It told me that America cared about its number one export more than it cared about its future generations.
Which is always the truth. I think I see it.
America's built on drugs and guns. America's built on war.
It's built on blood.
It's the foundation. It's the foundation of what America's built on. We stay at war. America. I try not to say we. America stays at war because I ain't making none of these decisions. They didn't ask me
for it though.
I missed the meetings. All right, they didn't ask me about shit about the wars. Okay, because I would have vetoed all that shit. I would have said no, I'm good. We're gonna stay out of all of them places. Iraq, Afghanistan, Palestine. We ain't got nothing to do with us. But America stays at war. But America also makes most of its money while it's at war.
That's what
got. That's literally fighting people. We have gone to war with people we sold weapons to. It's fucking insane.
It is. That's like, there's a running joke. America doesn't have an enemy it didn't create. Saddam was down with the team for a while. Taliban down with the team for a minute. And war. What got us out of the Great Depression? War.
Yeah. Osama bin Laden at one point worked for the American government.
Right. He was down with the team. But, Manuel Noriega was down with the team.
You start doing
So-
your own stuff, and then you're problem.
we knew this was a genocide. We knew when they were blowing up hospitals and markets. I'm like, oh, this has nothing to do with Hamas,
No.
right? This was, and then here's the thing, and it also wasn't a shock to me because we had already America had already been kind of fucking with Casa before, right? During the Obama administration, he approved all those drone strikes all throughout Gaza Strip, right? So, and which got tucked under the rug. And I know people want to tout Obama as a great president.
Oh, no.
He did some great things domestically. He did some cool things domestically.
He's a
but
terrorist.
but across the water, right? The way the rest of the world sees, I mean, he's damn near a war criminal. I mean, that shit was not sanctioned.
Bro, he was bombing a lot of people. I knew about that. That's why I was never D-Ran Mr. Hybrid himself. Like, no.
And that's what I gotta quote. I gotta quote Lupe here. Gaza Strip was getting bombed. Obama didn't say shit. It's right there. It's right there.
He
I was
signed off.
like, oh, that's why I didn't vote for him. Next one either. I'm a part of the problem. The problem is, yeah. Shout out to Lupe. Shout out to Lupe. But I'm like, this is.
But I also think we put too much stake in politicians, right? Like this, we put way too much stake in politicians. Politics is a business, right? And I'm getting to see that more on a local level now that I have folk who are kind of like in that sector. But politics is a business, like, and any politician you get in there is a businessman to some extent, right? And in order to continue making money as a business, you have to please whoever your customers are. Now in politics, they call it your constituents. And as we use that term, your constituency or your constituents, and we normally were referring to the people who have supported your campaign, who voted for you, got you in office. But that is not often what it means. It means that people who have funded you. Right? It is all these super PACs that have funded you. It is all these companies that have funded you. It is all these services who have funded you. It is all these huge businesses, corporations who have forked out a ton of money because if that's the way you get paid. And if you want to keep that money rolling in for the next term and the next project and the next election and whatever, then you have to make those people happy. Because building funding and getting donors and stuff like that from grassroots organizations and getting money from the people, that should have you losing every election you ever try to get into. You have to use corporate money. That's national politics for you.
Yeah. Legal bribes.
Obama is just, it was cool to see, this brown man in office. But he's a regular politician just like anybody else.
Been saying that.
And it's just, I mean, I don't know if she still is. I know AOC was on a very short list of people who didn't take any kind of corporate money, but I don't know if that's still the case now. Because I saw her in some kind of commercial with Biden. I'm like, that doesn't seem on brand for you.
She's trying to move up that ladder. Exactly. And I love AOC. And I love that whole squad. You know what I'm saying? Ilhan Omar, like AOC, like I love their politics. I love their views. I love what they stand for, but if they're gonna move up the ladder, they're gonna have to play ball at some point.
That hero, live long enough to see yourself come to villain.
Mandatory Dark Knight quote. All right, we made the quota.
It stands for life, man. That's just a movie of life.
I'm for the first time since COVID, I'm nervous. Little Ryan time a little bit. COVID made me nervous because I'm in Texas, and when they finally shut everything down and there was no one on the streets, and I went to the grocery store and everything was empty, I'm like, I'm getting a tad bit nervous now, right? This is making me nervous because between Emory University is in Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken, and you are nearby all of these cop cities being built. College is supposed to be a safe space of expression. We just pulled back the layers and shown it is not. They're exposing people's faces. You have the growth of AI. History says I'd be naive to believe everything is on the up and up. Why are you, like I said, we saw someone get arrested at UCLA and they made sure to pull their mask off. And I'm like, what's obvious? What's really going on? What's the thing behind the thing? And that's what's got me a little bit nervous. Because when you see the kids of privilege getting their ass whooped, you know, one of the proud moments as a brother, as a black man, was you rewind time to the George Floyd protests. It was a lot of white folks out there taking ass whoopings too, right?
It's the same thing with civil rights. It was
But you know, but I doubt the white folks out there getting their ass whooped was of this caliber. Yale, you know, their parents are Yale graduates, their parents are Harvard graduates. When these cops have no compunction about beating the shit out of the kids of privilege, it's time to raise an eyebrow and ask ourselves some very serious questions. What's really going on? You got cop cities, you got privileged kids getting their ass whooped. Was
changing the laws that they're getting done overnight.
Yeah, there
That
was
whole
just
freedom of speech stuff. Now I send you. I think we're gonna talk about it. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the other point. That's the other problem. There's a law being passed through the House and went through the House that makes anti-Semitic or anti-Jewish speech a crime.
Right.
What are we?
Like that's not a problem, but what they're labeling as that is the problem.
That's so damn broad.
That's what I'm saying. If you look
Like,
at the actual what it says and what they're labeling as that, you basically can't say nothing. If it's
and it's
anything pro Palestine, anything whatever, that will be labeled as that, and you can be tried.
and it begs the question: what are we doing? What is the end? What is the end game?
You know,
Doctor Strange, we're in the end game now. What is the end game?
You know, I love I love how optimistic you are.
see, hey, this is what I do every week. Every week.
You are an optimist, and I appreciate you. Life has not beaten you down yet. You are strong. You are holding strong.
Or delusion. Which one? I don't know. It's one or two.
Yeah, man. I think this is kind of business as usual, and I think that what's going to happen is people are going to move on with their day after it happens. And you know, I would love to say that there's a big change coming. There's a huge thing that's going to happen. There's a big turnaround. There's a new world order. Something's going to happen. It's like, you know, but it's nope. It's not. It's people are going to go back to their regular scheduled programs. Right after this, you know what I mean? And so they're going to pass all the laws. They're going to you know, propose all the bills, and people are going to, you know, people are going to go back to working paycheck to paycheck, which is where the majority of America is, and that part is by design, right? Because it's hard for people to even focus on politics when you're poor, right? If all you can see is the inflation, then you're not even concerned about all these other bills and things that's happening in the General Assembly and, you know, your local politics, what's happening in the Supreme Court. You're not worried about all that kind of stuff. You got bills to pay.
I like this guy. He's
You know what I mean? That's milk is, you know, $50 a gallon. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the only thing you're worried about. You know what I mean? At this point, it's just cheaper to buy a cow.
And when it's done, I'm gonna make me some steak. But anyway,
you know what I'm saying? No, you don't get to make the steaks no more. All right, you are banned from making steaks. All right, you are not on the grill.
Hey,
I seen the steaks that you be making. Okay,
hey.
Ain't nobody trying to shoot through leather all day at the cookout.
Damn. Hey, extra well done.
that hell done.
Hell done.
Hell
done.
Oh, hell. So you got burnt ends. That's not even steak no more. That's crazy. You see,
like steak ain't supposed to be crispy on the end.
Oh my God,
he could burn ends. Oh no. I'm sorry.
But no, it's I think it's the only optimism I have, quote unquote, in all honesty, is just there are certain things I think that when executed is gonna lead to a legit insurrection, not Jimmy and Jody running up in the Capitol January 6th. There's a point where it's gonna be like worst fears confirmed, martial law, so on and so forth. And I'm like, if you do certain things, you peel the covers back, you know, it's V for Vendetta, it's, and I'm like, does America really want to do that?
It's
Do
not gonna
you
happen.
really want to do that? Whereas, oh, by the way, this is martial law. Oh, by the way, fuck the Constitution. Who's ever in office run shit. And that's what I'm like. That's how you upset the apple cart. Because as long as you have the illusion of, hey, if you work hard, you can be rich and you can be elite, cool. The machine still rolls. But this, when you start beating up rich, privileged kids that can make phone calls to congressmen, to people who make campaign donations, now it's like, whoa, what's really going on here? And what should our concern level as regular folk be? Because as black folk, our concern level is always to the
I'm
roof.
about to say what?
Yeah, our concern level is
It's
always to
just
the
like
roof.
it's not gonna happen. And again, like I mean, unless people who actually hold the money are getting involved, then it doesn't matter, right? They're just some punk kids causing a stir. Take your ass back to class.
Pretty much.
Get off this lawn.
Because like I said, they don't have the connections. Their parents do. And if
Right.
their
And
parents
unless
agree,
their parents are
right.
willing to be like, hey, I'm taking my money out. I'm taking my kids out of, I mean, they're no longer gonna be enrolled. Like unless those things are gonna happen, there's not gonna be any huge change. Right. And then as far as like leading to like a real uproar or a real insurrection and like this kind of like push back to the government, it's not gonna happen. And even if it could, then it's gonna get shut down so fast. You know what I mean? Like when we talk about like the anywhere between like the 30s, like post Jim Crow to like the civil rights era, right? The level of technology was nowhere near where it is now, right? Police were not militarized. You know what I mean? They weren't showing up in riot gear. It was plain clothes. I mean, it was officers in uniform with batons and some revolvers, right? And if you go fast forward over to Oakland, you had Black Panther Party walking around with the same stuff. You know what I'm saying? They had bats and revolvers and shotguns. It was an even playing field. Cops were scared. Fast
Huey.
forward 2024, these cops are in full. They're dressed like sentinels. you know, you know what I mean? They in full gear. They're completely militarized. They're walking around in gear. They're walking around with weapons that the military was using, you know what I'm saying, like 10, 15 years ago. You know what I'm saying? They're just getting the hand-me-downs. So like there's nothing that citizens have right now that is even remotely comparable.
Judge Dredd, man. Judge Dredd.
Any type of uproar like that would end in a bloodbath. And it's honestly only going to end in a bloodbath if Black and brown people get involved, because it's like that pseudo insurrection that happened should have been a massacre.
Yeah,
it should have been an absolute massacre. Breaking into the freaking Capitol, it's a federal offense.
Treason.
Yeah, it's treason. It's literally treason.
It's a couple of them that got like 10, 12 years, so they got some tall numbers.
No, we see saying no, because I said this too. I think you agree with me, but when it happened many moons ago, it's like, hold up. If it was BMM or any other group that walked in there, for one, they went and made it to the doorstep. They got lit up on national TV with no care in the world, because they could just say treason, threat to national security, and they would have evidence because you actually tried to run in there. But with them, they literally let them walk in, except for one lady that got blasted. That's it. There's only one death. All of them should have got smoked, but they did, and you know why?
It's 2 deaths because 1 cop passed.
Oh yeah, that's right.
One cop that passed away, which is the other thing. I'm like, a whole cop died. A whole cop died. They brought a noose out there and was threatening to hang Mike Pence. Like, they had gallows. They had gallows on the Capitol lawn. How do you? And then 1 or 2 of them are facing some time now. How do you even leave from that and get back on a plane? These weren't even locals.
No,
these weren't even locals.
Yeah, they weren't.
These are fucking pasty white people from Ohio.
Yes.
They came from Texas. They got back on a plane and went home. blew my fucking mind. It's like to Kane's point, if it was 100 niggas trying to storm the Capitol, there'd be 100 dead niggas on the Capitol.
On TV. Live.
Live streamed everywhere.
Live. Welcome to Saturday Night Live. I'm sorry. But damn. Yeah.
That's why I think it was on a Saturday.
That's hilarious.
Damn.
It's just, I mean, one, that is the absolute height of white privilege. I don't have any privilege. Fam, the fact that y'all laid out the plan and then had round trip tickets lets me know that's privilege.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry, honey. We're gonna leave you with the babysitter. We'll be back Sunday night. We're just gonna run up in the Capitol. Like, huh?
Yeah, we make that plan. We basically saying like,
Don't
we're
buy
not
two
coming
tickets.
back. Like, don't
Right,
even worry about it.
Don't buy two
Just
tickets. Don't buy
Get
two
my
tickets.
affairs in order and let's go.
Right.
What's
Don't
wild
buy
is
two
the
tickets.
cognitive dissonance. The cognitive dissonance is wild for me because those people are people who call themselves patriots, but are also trying to overthrow the government. Like, can be so violent with the government that they think they have the privilege, the ability, the autonomy to run inside of a federal building and threaten politicians, but also still call themselves patriots. Like that part shows me that there's no connection happening.
Yeah,
Freedom.
It's
You fighting for freedom.
It's interesting though, because in this country has a nice way of forgetting its own origins.
Right. You did
It's
the same thing to Britain.
Yeah, it's a country born from blood, born from revolution, born from fuck the man. And now we go to, no, you can't say fuck the man because we're gonna put you down. And like I said, that's the part. Like I said, I've only been nervous a couple times in my adult life. Like, yo, something ain't right. There's something in the air. Last time that happened was COVID, because again, being in Texas, and everyone has at least 4 guns, and Walmart's almost empty. It's like, okay, so when the shelves go bare and no trucks are coming through, we're one step away from the fucking Walking Dead. But now I'm a little nervous because you start seeing certain shit line up and you got to raise an eyebrow like, what's next? Because like I said, this country cherishes and protects its elites at the expense of everybody else, right? When you seeing cops mushing the shit out of the kids of the elites, knowing that, I'm going to make a phone call, I can have your job, and they don't seem to give a shit, it makes you raise an eyebrow or 4. Like, what's the end game here?
They don't have enough power, man.
No, the kids themselves, absolutely not.
Yeah.
The parents do. And
Right.
that's what yeah. Because if I get a phone, if I'm an elite and I get a phone call that my kid is in jail, and I see footage, you done mushed the shit out of him and pushed him in the ground and all, I'm like, I want your badge, buddy. I want your badge, buddy.
Right.
And there's a lot of that going on. That's one of the rare times in my adult life I am concerned. I'm like, I don't know how this story ends. And the government seems to be riding with. I saw a clip of Biden, and someone asked a question like, hey, has the protest changed your idea about, basically, has the protest changed your idea about dealing with Israel? No. Nope. Said no and walked off. And I'm like, how? 9/11 was a really interesting tale to tell, right? This one is a little different, and because 9/11, the planes flew into the buildings fell. We gotta go to war. Okay, got it. This one it's Hamas attacked and Israel had a counterattack. This ain't holding up. This story ain't aging well. It ain't holding up well. And we can see, again, when you see dead kids in the streets and the atrocities being committed by Israel, the question becomes, how do you consistently back them? And that's like, yeah, this is a problem.
Well, I knew the U.S. wasn't going to do anything about Israel because we've been allies with them forever, right? Also, this kind of war between this kind of conflict, and I'm using that term loosely, between the state of Palestine and Israel has been like 70 years in the making, right? Because Israel has wanted that land for a really long time, right? And so And what we're saying is, and I'm mad at myself for going on record of saying this. What we're also seeing is a religious war. Like we're seeing a religious war happening in front of us as well, right? Because we're talking about Zionist Israel population who have wanted this like Mecca for a long time that has been populated by Palestinian Muslims. So, and there's been attempts from EU and all that kind of stuff, like to like create two equal states, right? So they can just kind of live, and it doesn't happen. It never goes through, right? Israel has a large part to play in that, because they want what they want when they want it. But they were trying not to get out here looking like war criminals. You know what I mean? But now this like attack that happened at a concert gave them just enough leeway to be like, well, we have to counter because they attacked us first.
That's like
now but when I seen them blowing up hospitals and markets and destroying the food supply and places where people could like receive care, I was like, we're not watching a war play out. You know what I mean? Like not in the traditional sense of the word. We're watching an entire genocide happen, especially because Hamas, you know what I mean, and being this kind of rebel group, kind of like what America touted the Taliban as, right? Kind of the same kind of rhetoric. They don't have the manpower or the resources, you know what I mean, to even combat any of this. Meanwhile, like Israel is backed by not only us but like several other large countries. So it's just not. It's very one-sided.
This ain't a fair fight.
Well, we do have Iran starting to put their head into things, so see what happens with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, they got backup. Now, what's going to lead to that if they really get involved and the other Middle East countries get involved? So it's like, I'm not ready for WW3. I'm trying to relax.
As much as we possibly can, but this is bad, and I am going on record and saying I am nervous and keeping a close eye on this because this is, you got laws passed, you got laws about trying to be passed. You got the kids of the privilege getting their ass whooped. This is a bad. This is not charting well right now. Gonna bring it back to the good old US of A. This is wild, and I've been looking forward to talking about this. So, let me see. 50, and I'm getting this right off of USA Today. 54-year-old Louisiana man has been sentenced to 50 years in prison. Okay. And convicted of raping and impregnating a 14-year-old girl. Glenn Sullivan.
All work.
Right. Yeah, essaying a 14-year-old girl. Now, that's not the part that's wild out. The part that's wild is he's also been sentenced to physical castration. I have a huge problem with that, and I'll explain why. I'm let someone else take a Jeter role here, but 50 years and castration. I'm not gonna go first. Who wants to touch it first?
Who wants to touch it first? I don't want to touch it at all. Where I browse through the story. Where is he located?
Louisiana.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of on brand for Louisiana. They do shit out. Mississippi, Louisiana, like Alabama, they just do shit wild out there. They just do shit real different out there.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that's a whole different. And listen, I'm not. Okay, listen. Okay, let me just say, I don't think that he should be castrated. I just think that opens up a door for a lot of shit that I think that just opened up. I think that opens up a door, and I don't know. I'm not prepared for us as a country to do that. I feel like mutilation and torture and stuff like that that's a slippery slope. One that I just know was going to affect Black men in the prison industrial complex trapped in the system more than it's going to affect anybody else. So there's my stance on that. But I ain't mad at the logic. I get it.
I
mean, dad logic says if you did that to my kid, that's the first punishment you get, and fuck your 50 years. I got 2 daughters. I'm cutting up everybody.
Yeah, you ain't. I mean, you may as well arrest me too, because you ain't gonna make it to trial, Chief.
You're
But
not about to make it, bro. You're not finna
right,
go.
right.
You better be glad they got you before I did.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I
Can
understand the
you?
logic. I just don't think they should. I don't think they should castrate them.
I don't. Can you want next? You want me to go?
I mean, mine's a short, yeah, so I guess on the surface, I'm okay with that. But like I said, hey, keep your hands and your wee wee to yourself. You wouldn't have this problem. On the surface, on the perfect utopian world where it's proven that you 100% did it, 100%, not 99.9, 100%. Cool. I had no problem. But in reality, I have a major problem with it because, like you just said, which I was going to say, it's going to, you give them the power to do that, they just going to start doing it. And then once you open Pandora's box, it's hard to close it because now everyone that's convicted, whether right or wrong, can have that happen to you. And I don't trust the justice system for them to get that shit right. Like I said, if you trust the justice system, this might sound great to you. But if you don't, like me and many other people, this is horrible. This will go left completely because the justice system's already skewed and effed up in the wrong way already. So now you're gonna give them the power to, like you said, torture and mutilate people when we're not even 100% sure that everyone in there should be in there. I'm good. So
Can you
nah, on the surface,
imagine?
yeah. But reality, hell no, don't do that.
Can you imagine if they had arrested the Central Park Five for all those rapes
That's what I'm saying.
and took them kids through that fucking ringer? They end up serving all that time. Could you imagine if this had been a possible penalty just for them to come back later and be like, "Oh, my bad, we got it wrong."
That's why I said like 100%, and I don't trust the justice system because I know how it is towards people, especially that look like me. So no, they can't be trusted. I don't trust the justice system. I don't trust that everyone that's in there now is actually should be in there. It's people out here walking that should be in there. There's people in there that should be out here. But hey,
And to be very clear, I'm never excusing people who commit crimes of this nature,
that's what
right?
I'm doing.
Like
Yeah,
I
that's why
think
I said
they should be
surface.
punished to the full extent of the law.
Exactly.
Um, I just systemically, I know what the government does
Mhm.
and what the justice system has done, and if they're willing to do this, and this man was a white man. If they're
Mm-hmm.
willing to do that to some middle-aged white man, then they don't have any. They're not gonna have any qualms about doing that or worse to a brother. So,
Mm,
who
yeah,
may or may not be guilty.
exactly.
See,
Circle
okay.
up.
Yeah. My thought process is again, and it will make it very clear. I am not an advocate of all at all of someone who commits a crime of this nature being
No.
shown leniency.
Right.
However, I think, and I've always thought this, when it comes to pedophilia in particular, this country doesn't do enough to prevent the monster, always wants to punish the monster.
The world.
And I don't know. I don't know what laws are like overseas, but it's like it's always this punish the monster, and it doesn't prevent other monsters. I've also said I believe pedophilia is a disease, and I don't believe I have a problem with the death penalty because the state I don't believe should have the power to kill. I absolutely have a problem with this. This is I don't know how, like his lawyer's shitty because I don't know how this is not a clear Eighth Amendment violation, no cruel and unusual punishment. That amendment was specifically put in place to counter the things that Europe would do. People were getting drawn and quartered. If you know what being drawn and quartered is, yeah, it ain't fun. So the founding fathers, those motherfuckers, had
Even
the
fathers.
good sense, right, the good sense to say, hey, no cruel and unusual punishment. I don't see how this is not an Eighth Amendment violation. That's one. Two, I do believe certain things should happen to people of this nature. If you are convicted of committing a crime of this nature against a child, I firmly believe you should be subjected to certain studies. And just like football players with CTE, I think after your death, you should have your head cracked open and we should study your brain. Because my thing is prevent the monster.
No, because they don't do it now. Like I said, example, they don't care about kids. You want to prevent the monster? Most of them are in positions of power. Like I said, the whole Epstein list that everyone forgot about, and all the elites that's attached to that just disappear and gets to walk free. Like, come on now.
Well,
The
Epstein
monsters
committed
always gonna win because they in control of shit, especially stuff when it comes to pedos.
Well, you know,
In
Epstein
Hollywood, you
committed
see
suicide.
all the like, come on, they don't protect. They ain't trying to do all that because then they have to arrest all the elites.
I mean, I hear you, but then the flip at is I don't know if you ever watched a documentary on the Boy Scouts. Wasn't nothing elite about them.
Oh, I'm giving you an example.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
But they were in positions of power.
That's what I'm saying. Position of power that actually affects millions of kids, not just a few. Not saying that's not bad either, but come on.
Well, your Boy Scout troop leader is the same as your congressman, but I get your point.
But you have
You know,
power.
like
So
your Boy Scout troop leader, when they get caught, they go into jail forever.
Yeah.
Your congressman, he might be at a diddler party. Sorry.
I mean, we say that, but like I mean, they were able to center a documentary around what was going on in the Boy Scouts because it had been going on unreprimanded for so long. You know what I mean? And to the point where it became a running joke about, Boy Scout troop leaders, the same way we joke about the Catholic Church, but no one was doing anything about it.
I haven't said that about them in so long too. I'm proud. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No,
No,
but
it's just like no one was doing anything about it, right? It was just the kind of thing that we talked about, but we never did anything. So like, I mean, I think that is indicative that we, as a culture, they just weren't willing to do enough. They weren't willing to do anything to prevent it, right? Because to me, those are the preventative measures. We know that here's an area where this can happen or this does happen. Like let's find a way to mitigate that. But instead, they would just kind of rather be reactive to it or not react at all to it.
I didn't think about it till you said it, but you too may have a point. Because my thought process has always been, how do you prevent the monster? And locking these dudes up is not preventing the monster. It's punishing the monster. It's not preventing the monster. And my thought is like, in order to make children safe, you have to prevent the monster. And taking punitive action, that's not preventing the monster. That's just punishing the monster after the deed is done.
Yeah.
We want do we want? And I'm gonna say this in order to answer. Do we want kids safe or no? But asking that question in this country, that's
it's not good to be a kid right now.
that's it. But shifting gears slightly. Speaking of the monster, speaking of the boogeyman. Oh boy, I don't. It must suck to be Drake right now. It must suck to be Drake because you got all that money, access to anybody you want, all the women, all of everything, and you just got bodied. At least in my estimation.
Yeah,
it took me 3 listens. The first listen, I was like, okay.
Nah.
But the second and third listen is like, oh God. Oh. This was
Hey, I understand, Cole. I understand, man. Hey, peace and positivity, bro. I don't want that. He must have heard that.
Also, it also makes me think that J. Cole may have some things he don't want aired out. Because J. Cole was quick to hit that apology tour.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was Nino G Money. I think it was I don't want to be the Nino and the G Money on the roof thing. I could be wrong. I just don't want to be Nino and G Money on the roof because I guess it is going to be a weird comparison. This is MGK versus M because from a skill level, Drake, you had to know you ain't got the skills. Your arms too short to hot box with God, sir. Like it's K Dot, it's Kung Fu Kenny. You ain't got it in your bag to fight this war.
Yes, you
So
do. You got a fan base and a machine behind you. That's why
I
he
was
thought
about to say,
he'd win.
I agree.
That's the only reason why he did. If he was MGK level of fandom, yeah, I agree with you. This is Drake. This is number one. His fan base is going crazy. Like I said, they was working overtime when that disc dropped. I seen it. They was trying to start all types of propaganda because they couldn't take it that your man's took another L to another lyricist. Well,
like
actually, alien. So, like, I mean, hey, that's he thought he can actually no, this is the best comparison. He thought he can LL Kendrick. He's bigger than Cannabis. Even though Cannabis got the hardest diss track, but a lot of people would say LL1 just because he was bigger. He was, like I said, Cannabis was swinging up. Now Kendrick is a lot closer to Drake than Cannabis was to LL at the time, but I'm just saying like that, like he has his support of his fan base to pretty much shield him. Because his career should probably be ended with Pusha T, but it did. So I mean, hey, pays to be on top, baby.
I knew that the Pusha T thing was kind of go the way that it did. I didn't think it was going to make much more noise than what we saw of it. And I think some of that though is because it was kind of like when Common dissed Drake, or when Luda dissed was Big Sean or whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? Like it was like there was so much of a generational gap that I just don't think people were going to look at them as peers. You know what I mean? The closest thing would have been like Meek Mill and Drake, right? They were peers, but that was poor Meek. Like they really they threw you the lob and you missed the dunk. But I think so. I think people are taking this more seriously because one, this might be the best lyricist we've seen go at Drake at this point. You know what I mean? It's particularly if we're talking about his peers. If we're talking about his peers, then this is the best lyricist that we've seen go at Drake.
Yeah.
Button is top.
Button's the only one that can come close to it.
But they're not peers.
I don't like him and Button are peers though.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like if you just didn't say, if you just said in general, like it's probably two people. That's it. Everyone else, no. But yeah.
So that dish, I've listened to Euphoria maybe 7 times now at this point. And I love something new about it
every time. It's like, It is just like when you start dissecting it, we don't want to hear you say nigga no more. And it's like that was such a checkmate. Because it's like it's such a checkmate because it's like, so what you gonna do? You gonna not say it and he just sunned you, or you gonna say it and notice the fact that you just got called to the carpet for being biracial. And it's that thing for those who don't know, when you're biracial and your mom is black, it's looked at differently than when you're biracial and your mom is white. It's
I'm about to say, you're the only one that's avoided that.
True. I tend to forget about. I honestly tend to forget.
That's what I'm saying. If you that type of biracial like J. Cole, you tend to forget about that. But if you like Drake and Logic, boy, that's gonna get brought up every time.
I think that the J. Cole comparison is good because because here's the thing, like there are other biracial celebrities that we don't ever call out for like anti-black behavior, right? Because they are a part of the culture, right? And it's more so about like there was people talking about how like black as an ethnicity versus black as a culture, and it's kind of different, right? Like you're not calling out Drake for saying nigga because he's half white. It's because he's always kind of been like a guest in the culture, right? He did not have, and what that usually means is that culturally being being culturally black means that there's a set of shared experiences that go along with that culture, that makes you feel like you're a part of it, right? Otherwise, you feel like adjacent to the culture, right? And so the critique around Drake has always been that he's been kind of adjacent, right? We didn't even get introduced to him as a person who, as a MC, like as a hip hop artist. We were introduced to him as an actor, right? We were introduced to him as an actor on a Canadian teen soap opera, and this was the framing for Aubrey before entering into hip hop, right? Uh, and so because of that, he's had to do so much to be like, no, look, I'm down, I'm cool, and it almost gives the same type of kind of texture as the cool white boy. That's kind of how he's always kind of been. And we've kind of accepted it, right? And we're like, oh, he's got some good singles. He's got a couple of albums that were like, all right, you know what I mean? And so we've just kind of accepted it. But any wrong turn, and we're like, hey, watch it. You're not Cole.
You're not Cole. That's true.
You're not Cole, because
anyway,
Cole has always been a part. Cole is ethnically, yeah, he's biracial, but Cole is culturally black, right? So different life experiences, shared experiences, that when we hear the music, when we see the interviews, we're like, oh, I understand you, right? You and subsequently you understand me as another black person in America. Like, I'm not looking at you now as a biracial person. You know what I mean? So it's more so about how Drake has been a guest in the culture, more so about him being biracial, like as far as ethnicity is concerned. And so I thought it was all that said, I think it was hilarious. And also, I really wish people were like, there's so many bars in there.
Man. Oh my God. It took me a minute.
Because when he said the line, he was like, this one is a headshot. You're gonna have to walk around like Daft Punk.
He wear a mask. Yeah, I don't think people got that because Daft Punk wears a helmet.
It took me a minute.
Because at first I was like, Daft Punk. Then I had to think about who that was. Like, oh, you wearing a helmet? Okay, yeah. Oh my God. See, that's why I love Kendrick, man.
When he explained about holding it, and it wasn't even like a real bar, but then when he explained about the first time he ever held a Draco, you know what I mean? And his homeboy was like, saying he didn't point it low enough. And he said, I'm gonna show you I'm not gonna make that mistake again. I said, oh,
that was a mean double. That was a mean double right there. And he had like, even the title of the song has like a quadruple, whatever you want to call it, multiple meanings to it. That's hitting Drake hard. This is what, and he got more in the take too. Like he said, let's not get personal, because boy, oh my God, Drake Aubrey, don't do it. You hear me? Don't do it. Stick to Instagram captions and all that, man. Don't respond, man. Just let it go.
Roscoe, did you listen to Black Chakra's recap?
Oh man, I ain't get to hear all of it because I was with the kids. So I'm up here. Look, I'm up here on the side with the joint to my ear because I knew Chakra was gonna wild out. So I'm like trying to listen to it quietly. So I got to go back and see the whole live.
Yo, son was like, I will be your ghostwriter for 20 grand. I'm like, yo, he said 20 grand. He was like, you gonna need some help, Drake. I'll be your ghostwriter for 20 bands.
Oh, he needs help.
I said, listen, he gonna need Black Chakra. He gonna need Sci-Hi the Prince. He gonna
need the whole team for this.
He gonna need Sky Zoo. He gonna need all the. He gonna need.
Go get Crooked. Go get Slaughterhouse. Somebody.
Right. Call Ortiz something. Because this ain't.
Where is Wayne? Where is help Wayne? Where is Wayne?
Who says he not? He might have been helping already.
You know what I'm saying? Where is Wayne? You need to break open in emergencies. You need to crack Wayne open and get that man to start.
And that's the thing. Drake can't pull a Nicki. Because when Nicki got bodied by Remy,
she brought those two with her.
Right. Nicki cut track with Drake and Wayne. You don't do it. Because that'd be a fun fight. Now that's Wayne versus Kendrick. Oh, that'd be fun.
I think they cool though. Like I said, I think most people why they don't go at Wayne because they cooler with him. Like I
Yeah.
think, like I said, all Kendrick, I think they cool with Wayne. It's just Drake is the odd man out, where
I
everyone
mean,
seems to have the problem.
now I will say this: Kendrick did exaggerate a little bit.
Oh, he
Drake
did.
does own a
He has
couple
that.
classics.
Yeah, he does.
Drake does.
Not
Drake is not a classicless artist. Like he
Yeah, at
does
least
own.
one.
That's just hip hop. I don't get no.
Yeah, like I
I
said,
don't put no
yeah.
stake into stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like
like
you gotta say that. Like
you
as
got
a rapper, you have to say that.
Listen,
Well,
when
well,
Cole said it.
Just like when
Yeah.
Cole was like,
Yeah.
the talking about Kendrick, your last one was mid or your last one was meh or whatever he said about the Big Steppers album. I'm like, all right, Cole, relax. Okay, like
Well, he's
you're just first of all, your discography doesn't look that great either.
that's what I'm about to say.
Because if there's anybody who's walking around without a classic, it's probably Cole.
Okay. Well, he has one, but after that, but they're good
Which
album.
one we talking about? Which one we talking about? We talking about early Cole, like Friday Night Lights?
Yeah,
Or we talking about like Forest Hills?
I think Forrest.
Because it ain't KOD.
I don't know about KOD. No,
All I know is my introduction to Cole was when he was out here
I
doing
say
duets
Forest
with
Hill
Miguel.
and maybe the
So
Friday Night Lights. I'll probably say it up there.
I give you Friday.
I
I
say
give you
Friday.
Friday Night Lights because that's a young, hungry
Yeah,
J. Cole.
that's Cole at his purest.
Yeah, but like, and even though I like the what was it off season,
was cool.
even though I like the off season album, it's not like I'm not
Yeah.
giving it a classic
It's
status.
not a class. It was a good album.
The closest thing he would have as far as like industry albums would be Forest Hill.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He might have two. That's it. Friday Night Lights and then the Forest. That's it. That's it.
yeah, but we can't hold Cole's discography up
Nah, not the kid.
to
No.
no. Good Kid, Mad City, damn. No, it's no. You
Because for
don't
me,
do it.
Kendrick's got several. For me personally, as a fan, Kendrick's got several albums, and this is coming from somebody who, in full transparency, was not a Kendrick fan at first. When the first time I heard Section 80,
Yeah, that was first.
I was like, like I was like, it's cool. I mean, he can rap, but I was like, it's all over the place. And it took me a minute to really appreciate Kendrick as a lyricist. Because you got to dissect it. He's a rapper that you got to dissect. So I will admit it took me a second. I had to go back and listen with my poet ear and be like, oh, that's what's happening. You know what I mean? Like, and then I had a whole new appreciation for him. And so since then, like the Pimp a Butterfly album, even Damn, I know people like criticize Damn for being kind of the worst in that catalog, but it was still pretty amazing, even to be the worst in that catalog.
That's like, do you know
his newest album might be the worst in that catalog? But
which one?
I think the Big Steppers, Mr. Morale might be the worst one in the catalog.
There's a couple of songs I could have done without on that
that's
album.
What I'm saying.
But you listen. How old are you?
Close to 30. I don't want to say my exact age. I ain't no idea. But yeah.
One thing when you get grown and you listen to that album and you hear him talking about trauma and like daddy issues and having to overcome all the toxicity that you've been taught forever. And then you finally get to that point where you had to pull back from everything. The reason why he disappeared is because he had to heal and he had to go through therapy. He had to fix things with his, you know what I'm saying? Like when you understand that better as an adult, like, man, you're like, oh shit, like this album is like.
No, I'm with you because people say it's trash. I'm not saying it's trash or anything. I'm saying
it ain't got no bangers.
Yeah, I'm saying, yeah, as a pure artistry album, it might be one of his best. But up there next to Pimp the Butterfly. Yeah. Just pure artistry. That's why I still love the art. I'll still listen to it. So I still respect it and love it a lot. I'm just saying, compared to the other ones, I would probably put it last.
You get less commercial appeal with the Big Steppers album.
Yeah. But I don't care about that. See, I listen to anything. I like music for the art. I'm old soul at heart. It's my fault. So when that album came out and everybody's like, I was like, I don't know what y'all listening to because as an artist, that is beautiful.
Like, I think that's what I appreciate about Kendrick most, though. Like the lyricism is cool, but like Kendrick is gonna give you like concept albums.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna give you full on like concept albums. Like it has a theme. It's you could tell the tracks are like picked out meticulously. It's not just thrown all together. It's not just whatever was on the hard drive. boom, we're gonna put, we're
He's
gonna
the
put it up
like
on
it's,
Spotify.
yeah.
He is like, you can tell they take their time with it and they craft, they curate an experience. You know what I mean? And it does remind me, it's very reminiscent of like some of the albums that we grew up on coming in the 90s, coming out into the 2000s, man. You had like concept albums, you had whole projects that had like a story from beginning to end, or had a theme. You know what I mean? It was 36 Chambers. It was fucking like it was
Illmatic, all that. Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like it was so well thought out. It was so well thought out. And now now an album drops and it's just a group of songs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So,
like,
nobody's putting stuff together like ATLians anymore. You know what I mean? Nobody's putting, projects like that together. So it's like, I appreciate that from Kendrick
I do
more
too.
than anything else.
I do too.
two of the last favorite concept albums I enjoyed, The Roots, of course, and Then You Shoot Your Cousin. And then I still Minstrel Show still rotation.
Oh yeah, damn, that was such a great album.
Still gets just I think that might be my favorite little brother album, because it's so much in there. I still forgive them for making the spoken word disc, but yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, that was a great album. So I think if we're talking about concept, if we're talking about albums with like that's like a full concept, then it's Rhapsody. For me, the last like the great one, like start to finish, press play, don't skip any tracks, is Rhapsody. That was it. Eve.
Her new joint is dropping, I think, in 2 weeks. I cannot.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Oh my gosh.
I put you on there. I told you she was the GOAT. I told you.
She's not in enough conversations. I mean, honestly, I'm not even like, I personally don't like gendering hip hop when we have conversations about lyricism, because it's not a sport like the WNBA and the NBA, right? Where you can there's this metric of athleticism and things that there may be things that don't happen in the WNBA that can happen in the NBA, speed, strength, whatever, right? This is bar for bar, who can fucking spit, right? And bar for bar, Rhapsody out raps a lot people.
I said that.
If your name is not
a lot of people, man, woman, whatever.
If your first name is not Remy, and a host of other people,
it's not like I said. Like I said, and like you said, in the sport or hip hop, it's fair game, because this is all in your head and your pen. Like, what can you do? It's fair game. Like I said, there's a lot of women that out rap dudes constantly, but they're only grouped with their own people,
right?
Or their own gender. Well, I'm like, dog, they should be compared to everyone.
Yeah, because Lauren made Praz and Clef look horrible.
I mean, Praz was horrible, but Praz was terrible. And then we found out he was like an informant, and now we were like, it all makes sense now.
Yeah.
Only an op could be that bad.
My God, it is ready or not. How do you?
You get body. I mean, she's the GOAT.
How do you hear Lauren's verse?
I rest, don't stress when you don't smoke less. I must confess, my destinies manifest. God. Like when I say bar, bang,
her
bang,
pocket is something crazy. Like when she gets into that pocket, it's like short. I love the technique of rap, like the pockets, the entendres, the flow. All I love the little intricacies, how they fit words into this and bend words. This like Eminem likes to bend words that don't rhyme to make it rhyme. That's stuff like that. That's why I'm probably a hip hop geek. But
she was a beast, yo. And it happens like that. It happens like that, all the time. And but we gender hip hop, and and I get it. We kind of gender everything, which is cool. You know what I mean? I think there's obviously some sports where that makes sense, right? But it's in lyricism, you either got it or you don't, right? Rod Digger was the best out of Flip Mode Squad, easily, bar none. You know what I mean? She's rapping circles around people. You know what I mean? Rhapsody is just bar for bar, just better than a lot of people.
A lot.
That is still a mystery in life. I've said two things. I'm convinced Pimp C didn't hear 3 Stacks' verse, because there's nowhere you could have heard 3 Stacks' verse on International Players Anthem and followed it up with that. Like, no,
No,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
If you're Pimp C, you definitely do that.
Like,
Yeah, I'm about
If you're
to say
Pimp C,
Pimp
you're
C.
definitely gonna do that.
Pimp
You're
C,
definitely
okay.
gonna hear whatever the fuck Andre was doing, and you're gonna be like, yeah, fuck all that.
Yeah, I'm not even. Yeah, you don't try to compete with that. You do your own thing.
You do your own thing. And listen, Pimp's got the second best verse on that song, if you ask me. And
wow.
it go. Matter of fact, that song for me goes in order. Andre's got the best verse on that song.
Everybody knows
and
it.
Then, and then Pimp, and then Bun, and then Big Boy.
Really?
I'm actually really disappointed in Big Boy because I felt like he should have really showed up on that track, and he didn't.
Okay.
He gets a pass because he showed up in everything else.
If you're in the studio and you hear Ready or Not, and you hear Lauren's verse, and you the best you can come up with is prop Ready or Not, refugees taking over. So wait, you just heard Lauren's verse, and that's the best you
Oh,
came.
we stopped listening after that. I listened to Lauren's verse. I swear to God, I listened to Lauren's verse, and I just stopped this.
And the song's over. It's like going back. It's like MC Bree's last
the
verse.
DJ is already like the DJ is already spinning the next record so they can fade it over into the next job.
You want to talk about a carry job? That's Lauren, boys. God damn.
Yeah, it's been a few of those. Like going way back. Gotta Get Mine. Tupac and MC Breed. I can't tell you MC Breed's last verse in that song to save my life. I never heard it. I think I heard it one time. I was like, I'm cool. Because Pac bodied it so bad. Like we don't need, unless you are from the Midwest, unless you are from Flint, you probably can't tell me the last verse of Gotta Get Mine. You probably can't tell me that verse. But yeah, that's talking about where we started. I don't, if you're Drake, I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do at this point. He did some kind of subliminal online, but I don't know. You better call somebody.
And even that subliminal makes him look bad because the reference he used wasn't the reference that Kendrick was talking about. That was a DMX reference. When the interview, when he was talking to Sean, he was like, I don't like how he looked, I don't like how he talks, I don't like how he speaks, I don't like how he dressed, none of that. Like that was DMX. That's where he got it from. Not that little fucking white show that he popped up. I'm like, dude, you proving this point. You're not in touch with the culture, my boy. You wearing a mask. Take it off.
Oh boy, it's bad.
I love
like
this. I love this. I've been waiting for this day.
And
I like Drake. I like early Drake. I don't like the new version. That's why I want this new version to fail so he can go back to being the singing pop star, not this whatever we got now.
I like Drake. I'm gonna tell you, my favorite album from Drake is Nothing Was the Same. That's why I felt like Drake was most in the pocket for me.
See, there you go. See, I'm good with that.
And he's giving you because you like Drake for the commercial shit. I mean, let's just keep it a buck, right? He gives you songs that are like catchy and you know what I mean, like you know what I mean. So like, I feel like every once in a while though he raps. Mm-hmm. And so Nothing Was the Same for me was that little blend between he's actually giving you some bars, regardless of who wrote them. He's actually giving you bars, and he's giving you some of the singing, you know, melody Drake. You know what I mean? So he's gonna give you Tuscan Leather, but he's also gonna, you know what I mean? He's gonna hit you with Come Through. You know what I mean? He's gonna give you a little bit of mix, and I like that. I like Nothing Was the Same, and then you know some albums before that. Everything after that, meh.
That's what I'm saying. He needs to be humble so he can go back to that.
I mean, it just, and like I said, I want to be real clear. I don't think Drake is ass. It's just Royce. They asked Royce about this years ago. And it's like, because of the nature of the fact that he has ghostwriters, it's certain, and I think Royce is being politically correct and generous. It's like, there's certain conversations you can't have Drake in because he's got ghostwriters, right? Mm-hmm. But Drake can snap. Classic example, his verse in Forever, best verse on the song. And that's saying something given who's on that song.
I don't know about that. He ain't got the best verse on Forever.
Who had a better verse than Drake on Forever?
Eminem.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I'm sorry. That
it's close, but I'll take it in.
It's, to me, it's not even close. That's just Eminem. That's Spitfire Eminem. But if you break down Drake's verse, especially,
he sound like Wayne on that verse too. That was damn near. I like Drake sound like Wayne on that verse, like completely. That's something Wayne was saying. That's probably why that we thought Wayne might have been writing for him, because that's when he started to sound like Wayne, and he sounded like Wayne forever.
First can't say ever, greatest, like a sprained ankle, boy.
Does that not sound like something Wayne would say?
Lie.
You ain't even gotta do it out loud. You ain't gotta do it out loud. But in your mind, do your
Right.
best Lil Wayne impression, right? Do your best Lil Wayne impression. Think about the voice. Do your best Lil Wayne impression, and then spit that Drake verse in
So
that
you agree
voice.
with me? You agree with me? That sounded like Wayne. You cannot lie. That is Wayne's pocket to the T. So
I mean,
I'm
if
not
you
saying he didn't write it. I'm just saying
like a sprained ankle, boy. Ain't nothing to play with. Like you gotta do the high pitched Wayne voice when you do it. It's gonna.
This I know you like because you even said that he started to sound like Wayne around that time. I remember.
I'm gassing it. But Drake might have wrote that
He
genre. But I
might
mean,
have,
he
but
might
it
have been
sounded
also
like Wayne.
heavily influenced
That's what
by
I'm
Wayne
saying.
because that
Yeah.
camp is so
right,
close.
you understand? But I'm like, instances I can
he
say
got
Drake
writers.
snapped.
Never knew.
He snapped on it forever. He snapped on forever. He snapped 5 a.m. in Toronto is woof. Oh, that is
So
top tier Drake
timestamp
shit.
Drake. Timestamp Drake is my second favorite Drake. But I also listen, because I'm not the first one to say things like this, right? People be like, oh yeah, my favorite Drake is singing Drake. No, my favorite Drake is timestamp Drake. Now my favorite Drake, and it's because Drake doesn't have a voice. Drake doesn't have a voice.
It's
Drake doesn't have a
versatility.
style.
It's not
He attaches himself to whatever is trendy in the moment. And this is why you had drill music Drake, and then you had whatever not this drill music, but like European, like English drill music Drake.
Yeah,
And then
Toronto
you get
Drake.
you know what I'm saying? And then you get Caribbean Drake. You know what I'm saying? Like you got the Rihanna era, you get Caribbean Drake. And like, you know what I mean? There's always these different versions of him. You know what I mean? You get the Drake that starts to sound like 21 a lot. You know what I mean? Because
Mystique,
they're
man.
doing more stuff together. And 21 is hot right now. Like you know what I mean? You get that singing Drake that's like not really singing because he's hanging around Future all the time. Like, and he starts to switch the flow up. You know what I mean? Like he just mirrors whatever's happening around him, and he's just able to do it at a high level. I mean, there's something to be said about being a very good chameleon.
I'm about to say
I
that's the
must say
thing. He can
Mystique.
adapt to anything.
Keep it X-Men Mystique. He is the Mystique of hip hop.
That is hilarious, sir. That is hilarious.
And that's a double entendre.
Yo,
double. I know you didn't catch that, but go
that
ahead.
Yo, Drake is the mystique of
Mystique
hip hop.
that
I'm
is
about to quote that
bars.
right now.
Bars.
That is disrespectful.
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 It's true. Hey, we love Mystique. She good at what she do, man.
Yo, Drake is the mystique of hip hop.
That is yeah, bars. Well done, sir. Well done.
Hey, I'm not a rapper though, so don't just to me, nigga.
But no, like I said, instances Drake snapped forever. 5 a.m. in Toronto. That God, the bars at 5 a.m. in Toronto are just ridiculous. His verse in Seeing Green, you on a track with Nicki and Wayne, and your man, Seeing Green, he killed that. And then probably one of my all-time favorite Drake songs is Sooner Than Later. Before all the fame and all the shit got to his head, Sooner Than Later is one of those amazing tracks because every dude's been there, but no one wants to say it out loud. Like the closest I can think to it is probably LL's Love You Better, but look how long it took LL to get to that point. Sooner Than Later is just, oh my God, it's such a heartfelt, just if you a dude that's honest, Sooner Than Later. So there are instances I can say Drake snapped. There are absolutely instances I can say Drake snapped. It's just sadly you got to be like, well, did you write it? And that's never a good thing to have to be attached to you.
That's why
the only thing, and this the only part of like devil's advocate that I'll play with this is that we don't really hold the same. We don't have the same conversations around Kanye.
Because is he a rapper or producer?
Doesn't matter. He raps.
Because we don't say that for Dre either. Because I think of him more as a producer. That's why if you're a producer that raps, I still think you're not really a rapper. But if you think he's a rapper, then I
in the rap conversations all the time.
He shouldn't.
You know what I mean? There's definitely somewhere there's someone who has Kanye in their top 10. There's somewhere because he's given us a bunch of classics. He's given us a few bars, and we often kind of gloss over the fact that he may not have written it.
Not
I mean,
we.
I didn't know.
But he
I
might
didn't
be
know he
top
never
10
wrote
producers. I agree with that. But if you say top 10 ever MC, you don't write, and you admitted you don't write. So like,
Yeah.
No. I see
Don't
him as
worry
a
if I-
producer rapper. That's a different hybrid. Like I
Don't worry
don't.
if I write rhymes, I write checks.
Yeah, it's like an
maybe.
R&B artist. Like I don't care that you don't write. None of them do. Well, some do, but most
Some
of them
do.
don't.
I think
Some
the
do,
best
but most of them
producer
don't.
writer that'll be something to debate. But I think one of the best producer writers is still RZA. Like if
that.
you go through Wu-Tang's discography, the production is avant-garde. He was doing shit nobody was doing in 93, 94. And you listen, one of my favorite RZA verses ever is his verse on Impossible. Like, that's like, okay, RZA actually can't spit. Like, I'm not saying RZA is anywhere near the best out of Wu, but from a production standpoint, married to rhyme, yeah. Like, when you start having conversations about who's the best rapper producer, RZA's got to be top 5 because you're going to be hard pressed to find, more than that better than him.
I mean, so who's number 1?
No, I agree.
Good. I'm trying to. You know what? We'll touch that depending on what it looks like next show. We'll touch that next show because, like, off the top, I can't think best rapper producer because the problem is Kanye got ghostwriters. So Dre got ghostwriters. Primo don't rap.
I mean,
Actually,
JD does, but he's trash. Jermaine Dupri raps, but he's trash.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up. Last topic, real quick. I'm running a list of names, and we'll just pick one. Okay, who's the worst player in this picture? The picture is Steph, D Wade, Jordan, Kobe, Magic, Bron, KD, Tim Duncan, Shaq, Kareem. Honestly, KD. Not saying something, but out of the people in that picture, KD. If you got to pick a worst player, who I'm picking last, KD.
To win a championship, right?
One?
What is the question? Or just
who's the worst player in the picture?
Yeah, it's between KD and Wade.
I don't even know how you can say Wade.
No, out of everyone else, you can. Like I say, he's on the lower tier of all of them. So is KD. So
he carried Miami on his
That's what I'm saying. I'm putting KD. I'll put D Wade over him.
And D Wade, out of everybody, Michael and Kobe are in this picture, and D Wade is the all-time leader in blocks of 2 guards.
Yeah, Mike is second. So
that's what I'm saying. Like I know I've seen that picture floating around, and I've seen people kind of go to D Wade by default, and some of that I think is about just name, and I don't know, man. Like I guess I would have to pick KD.
Yeah. See,
I have to pick KD. I mean, that's a hard choice either way. I'm glad nobody even bothered touching some of the legends that are in that picture.
Oh, I wanted to say Duncan. Believe me, I wanted to say Duncan.
What?
Why?
Yeah.
How?
What?
How do you do that?
Better?
What metric are you using to say Duncan?
Because he's a boring. That's what you're gonna say.
I mean, personally, I know he's not in the picture. Personally, I'm taking KG over Duncan, but that's just me.
That's not a bad argument if you're talking talent, skill for skill, but as a career,
because one of them has 5 rank.
I'm saying as a career, yes. I'm saying, but as a power forward, KG was ahead of his time.
I mean, he was a hell of an athlete. I mean, he's a physical specimen.
He can bring the ball up, can shoot, dribble, pass, play defense at elite level, can switch on to 1 through 5s basically. Duncan was probably one of the greatest rim protectors ever, and one of the greatest defenders ever, but so is KG.
And Duncan to me is
I think Duncan might have been the most purest power forward is the thing for me. And listen, I'm a little biased because I'm a Spurs fan, but I don't know, man. You can't knock the big fundamental, man.
No,
like, I mean, he's gonna give you the most boring 30 points you've ever seen, but he's gonna give you 30
and win, and not even make an expression on his face.
No expression and no sweat.
Nothing. He's just going. He Jokic before
Just
Jokic.
one face. The
Yeah.
whole game.
Just
One,
not a Timmy fan.
yeah,
Not a
don't.
Timmy fan.
Yeah, you are Timmy hater because Timmy is an all-time great, and I think he's underrated.
Yeah,
Like,
he's super
come
underrated. Like
Come on.
he was amazing on the court, and just the chemistry that they built on that team was fucking crazy. Anyway,
You see what they did without him? Can't do nothing. And they had talent. Now you got Wemby now, so we'll see. Because that's something. That's something.
We got a little more building to do. But
but you have a great foundation. A great foundation.
I cried when we lost Danny Green. I cried when we lost Kawhi Leonard because I was like, "Oh, we're rebuilding," and then we were always starting from scratch.
Yeah. Well, you good now. You got a foundation, so now you just gotta surround it with talent, and I hope they do. Because boy,
is a problem.
Dear God, oh my God!
And he stuns Chet Holmgren every time they play
because they got beef.
Like Chet Holmgren is not a bum. He got trucked by LeBron and then got injured. And I swear to God, went to the forest.
Yeah, he went to
the forest like fucking Batman Begins.
He got bigger.
Came back, but Chet got game. But when Wemby comes to town, he suns him badly. But okay, let's.
We haven't seen a center like him since what, like Manute Bol, like that type of long, lanky.
We ain't never
kind of
seen
center, like who's that quick on their feet.
Like it's like Manute Bol with Giannis athleticism and movement. It makes no sense. Like you can't.
If he trains and he wouldn't need to get any bigger, but if he really buckles down and I mean we're looking at like another Kareem. If he really goes in. If he really goes in, like I'm not saying he's there now. I'm not saying he's there now. No. But I'm saying like if he really stays focused and really like you're looking at another Kareem. I mean, he's got the build, he's got the speed, he's got the and he's light on his feet, he's got the finesse, you know what I mean? I think we, the right amount of training and the right amount of focus, and if he takes this shit seriously and stays healthy, you're looking at another Kareem.
Yeah, but another GOAT, which is great.
Shooting through, doing double crossover threes, but yeah,
man, nutmeg somebody 7'4". Like who does that? He ain't nothing I ain't never seen before. We ain't probably never gonna see again. It's the only thing stopping him is health. That's it, and he looks like he can stay healthy.
Like between Zion, well, we've seen Zion before.
He can't stay healthy.
Probably kind of like Barkley, but we ain't seen Wemby before.
No, we ain't never seen that. Well, we ain't really never seen Zion either. I mean, Barkley is the closest, but
he'll stay way more happily. I think he'll have less issues as a center because he's so lean.
Yeah.
Those bigger framed centers, they get a lot of knee issues, ankle issues. You know what I mean? Shaq done injured that damn toe 17 times throughout his goddamn career.
Almost 400 pounds, yeah.
I mean, yeah, you know what I mean? He was a truck by the time that he got well into past his prime. So I think Wemby's not gonna have that kind of issue.
Yeah. All right. Run it back, recap. Let's see here. Try to take it from the top. Again, I am still concerned about what's really going to happen. What's really going on behind closed doors in conversations and in meeting rooms at these colleges. Something I've watched too much X-Men 97, but something seemed like it's up. Something don't seem right. I don't know if they got Sentinels coming out next, but somebody just don't seem like on the up and up, man. Like this is kind of wild. I firmly believe, like, look, castrating dude is what it is. I don't like the fact that it can happen. And again, to me, it does nothing to prevent the monster. It does nothing to keep our kids safer. Kendrick just roasted Drizzy. So sorry. Kendrick just roasted Drizzy. There's no way around it. Every time I listen to that song, it gets worse for Drake. Like, yeah, it gets worse. It just gets worse. And then in that picture of all-time players, I'm sorry, by default, KD is the last man out. KD doesn't get a chair. I'd love to say Tim Duncan, but I'd be lying. But KD doesn't get a chair. Oh, and lastly, real quick, my NBA playoff prediction. I'm hoping it's Boston, Dallas. I'm not gonna be surprised if it's Boston, Denver. Yes, but I think I don't know. I'm not giving Denver the edge on this one because Minnesota's looking filthy. Ant-Man looks like he wants to just dominate the world. Okay, next recap.
I think these encampments are going to happen, and I think that in the true state of American apathy, we will be done with this by the time the summer hits. These kids, care because they are still on campus. When the weather breaks and June rolls around, they'll be in Cabo somewhere.
Juneteenth.
Look, I think that man specifically should be castrated. just him for this crime this time. But using that as a rule of law, I think is dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, like first of all, I don't like all this Tim Duncan slander.
That's
all
what
right,
I'm saying.
Big Fundamental has given us some amazing games.
Mhm.
All right, and we're gonna respect it. We're gonna put some respect on that man's name and rings.
Mhm.
And all that he has given to the great people of San Antonio. So but KD and whatever is going on with them ankles and the lack of lotion, he can go and sit down, get a moisturizer, have a spa day.
Oh my goodness.
The college protests and all that. Yeah, this is just typical cycle stuff. It's just they're revealing the curtain and you're losing your rights slowly and surely, like I've been saying for the last forever. In your face. Told you so. Castrate, yeah, I'm with him. Just castrate him. And then take this off the board. Like, because like you said, the evidence is certain, 100%. Kid is his. So yeah, him only. Him alone. One off. Don't come back. Don't change no more outfits. Aubrey, listen to me well, my brother, my half brother, whatever. Creole. Yo, don't respond. Keep it to the Instagram captions. Keep taking pictures with women, posing, do all that good stuff. Cause I don't want to be like Soldier Boy and say, Drake, what are you doing? Don't do it. Don't do it, Aubrey. You can't win. Stop it.
That sexy red line in that song was also disrespectful.
I mean,
yo, sorry, I forgot to even put that in my recap because I felt like it was already over. I feel like we didn't even.
It was over. That was just nailing the coffin. Like that's what I say. Hey, Mystique of hip hop. I love you, my brother. Just go back to your first form. Don't do any more forms. Mystique of hip hop. Hey, put that on a shirt, yo. All right, and it's not disrespect. I know it's a double, but hey, surface level. And worst player in that pick's definitely KD. And yeah, I've been trying to tell this guy for a long time, we will not tolerate Tim Duncan disrespect. And I hate the Spurs because I'm a Lakers fan. But I respect Tim Duncan. I love his game. As a basketball purist, he got that Floyd Mayweather game. Like if you a boxing purist, you love his style. If you're a casual, you hate it. It's boring. But if you actually train boxing and love the technique and what Floyd's doing, he's the greatest defensive fighter ever. And the technique, the skill, the training, the athleticism it takes to fight in that style and win constantly, legendary. So yeah, Tim Duncan. One of the goats, man.
Oh my gosh. Okay. That. But yeah, final thoughts. Roscoe, you want to let everybody know where you at, what you got coming up?
So I'm in the middle of a book tour. We just released my latest collection. It's called Define. It's a book of poetry centered around kind of defining the traditional narratives and defining or redefining yourself outside of your trauma. A lot of these poems came as a product of therapy, And so, and I'm a big proponent of Black men, especially going to therapy, getting your stuff together and healing and moving forward. And then for my writers, who are on their own personal journey, there are writing prompts in the back of the book. So there's a little bit of something for everybody, I'd say. So catch that, find that online, and it's also in some bookstores as well. And then find me on tour. I'll probably be in your city at some point.
Absolutely, absolutely. This has been awesome. I want to thank my man for joining us. On behalf of myself, my son, and my awesome guest, Roscoe Burnhams of his Powell. On behalf of you, I said a podcast. We will catch you on the next episode. Peace.
Yeah.